process will be to alleviate any conflict of interest issues that are probably going to arise?
I think those are issues to be discussed down the road once charges are filed.
We're going to be able to take 2 more questions for the director. We have other people here who can answer some of your questions. We have, for example, Congressman Flake from Phoenix, who attended yesterday's press conference and has come today. We have the Chief of the Marshal Service. We have people from the Sheriff's Department. We have people from the FBI. 2 more questions for the director.
Thank you, sir. Let me see somebody, the individual in the pink back there. I don't think you've asked a question.
You know, the members of Congress commonly have these types of events. Can you talk a little bit about the security that Gabrielle Giffords had at this event, if at all, and whether or not you believe security for future events will change because of this?
I can assure you that is an issue that is being discussed in the halls of Congress amongst all of the agencies as to how we can increase security against such threats as we see here. I can tell you that when we as the FBI are referred complaints from a member of Commerce relating to threats, we pursue them, and we pursue them to the end until we're certain that the individual or individuals do not constitute a continuous threat. And I know that Capitol Police, the sergeants of arms, are working with congressmen and senators to both inform them of the course of the investigation, but also as to what steps may be taken in the future.
Was there any security there with her?
Not that I am aware of. Let me see, one more. Somebody who hasn't asked. Yes, ma'am.
Would you characterize this as an act of political terrorism?
The charges we expect to be filed today are based on the assault on the Congresswoman, the killing of the staffer and the assaults on the other staffers, and the killing of Judge Roll. I am not at all going to preclude the possibility that additional charges will be brought under the domestic terrorism statutes as the investigation continues. Thank you very much, folks.
Excuse me. Hi, I'm David Gonzalez, United States Marshal for the District of Arizona. Yes.
My question is, did this individual have an extended magazine on his block? And if he did, what kind of a dangerous weapon can that be?
You know, any questions pertaining to the actual shooting, I would leave to the sheriff or the FBI. My role in this, and the U.S. Marshal's role in this, is to look at the protection of the judiciary and determine if there was any organized or plot on Judge Roll or any other of the judges in Arizona or any other judges nationally.
Well, have you determined whether or not that's the case? And can you also talk a little bit about how he was shot exactly, what position he was in relation to the shooter, in relation to the...
I will leave that to the sheriff also, and I need the sheriff.
I think the director addressed the question of the weapon. It was a Glock 9mm. Model 19, but I'd like to amplify a little bit on the weapon and how it was secured and the bravery of not just 2 people, but 3 people. I don't have the names of the people involved, but when the gentleman ran out of the ammunition from his first magazine, he was attempting to change magazines. A woman, who we have the name of but I don't have, went up and grabbed the magazine and tore it away from him. While he was trying to put another magazine in, he was successful in doing that, which also had, I think, 31 bullets in it. There would have been a huge, greater catastrophe had he been successful in doing that. Fortunately, the spring and the magazine failed, and the 2 gentlemen were able to get it away from him and subdue him until the law enforcement people arrived. Yes, sir.
Now, there's some confusion as to the number of casualties. If you have a definitive number, and also is there anybody who has a definitive pronunciation of the suspect's weapon?
The information that we have now is there are 6 deceased and a total of 20 people shot, including the 6 victims.
And how do you pronounce, is it Lochner or Lochner?
Lochner.
how he pronounces it?
I don't know how he pronounces it.
Well,
The Polish pronunciation is Lofner.
Yeah, well, the director just said Lochner. Anybody know?
Sheriff, with regard to this woman now, so you're saying that there's a woman who comes up.
First.
He's changing out of his spent cartridge, magazine.
She grabs the magazine.
And tries to insert yet another one.
He is able to insert the other one,
He's able to insert,
but it doesn't fire. And they were able, 2 men now come, they're able to get the weapon away from him and throw it away.
And she was then doing what exactly then?
She was also wounded when she did this.
But she was doing what? She was trying to get the...
She was trying to get the gun away from him.
Sheriff, in everything that he has posted online, Lochner, had, there's indications that he was saying goodbye to friends and family and writing in past tense. Any idea what his plan was out there? Was it suicide by cop? Was it he was planning on getting arrested eventually, getting away? Any thoughts on that?
Well, when the investigation is completed, we'll be in a better position to answer that question more specifically.
Could you please talk about the timeline leading up to the shooting?
I think the shooting began at around 10 a.m., maybe 10 minutes after 10.
So he just went from his house there.
Well, we don't know how he got there at this point.
Sheriff, are you calling this a hate crime?
You could probably call most murders a hate crime.
What is your current view on this person of interest?
We are still searching for the person of interest, but we are more satisfied in our own minds that this person may not have been involved in this incident at all.
So
But we still need to talk to him to verify that.
That's a slight change from yesterday.
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank
Sheriff, is there any documented mental health history on this gentleman?
When you say documented, exactly what is your question?
Has he sought help for mental health issues in the past? Has he ever been committed?
I don't know the answer to those.
Regarding threats that you were talking about yesterday, that he made, were those threats to law enforcement? Some of your deputies, other maybe Phoenix?
I can't answer that question at the moment. I can't answer that question.
Can you citizens expect a heightened sense of law enforcement or security around political officials here in the Tucson area?
I think there's no question about that, and as the director had mentioned, there's going to be some meetings taking place, not only about the people in Washington and how they're protected in Washington, but as most of you, I think, have come to the conclusion now, local law enforcement, unless there's some specific requests or specific intelligence that there may be a problem, are not even aware of the numerous appearances by elected officials that take place every day.
When you're talking about the threats, which I know you don't want to give details of what these other threats were, can you give us a time frame? Have these threats been in recent months?
Yes.
And my second question, when the director talked, did he say 2007 when he said that Lochner was at a similar appearance with the Congresswoman? Was that 2007 he said?
That's correct.
Sheriff, on did he fire, a couple questions. Did he fire off a round of 31? Because you said the second magazine had 31 bullets, so did the first magazine have 31 bullets?
It did.
Okay. And then regarding the woman, can you describe her in any way?
I can't, but we can maybe make that information available to you after the conference.
And then lastly, on the person of interest, yesterday you said at the beginning of your press conference that you may believe someone else is involved, or now you're saying that Lochner was the only person involved in this.
I'm not saying either.
Okay.
We, after the press conference, and the attorneys and the officers had some collaboration about this issue, decided to release this picture as a person of interest. Based on information we have developed since, it would appear to us that the person may not have been involved at all. But we still need to verify that, and we're still actively seeking this individual.
Sheriff, was that 2007 event, was that here in Tucson? Do you know anything about that?
What I can tell you is that there was some correspondence between Gifford's office and him about a similar event, and he was invited to attend.
invited him to attend that event?
Yes. 2007.
What was the nature of him being at the event? Was he an intern? Was he volunteer?
I do not know.
Did the two end up communicating?
I do not know. Don't know.
Do you now know
Was the federal
this?
judge supposed to be under U.S. Marshal protection due to the death threats before?
Pardon?
Was the federal judge that was killed supposed to be under U.S. Marshal protection?
Only when there are threats, if I understand that correctly.
Right, yes.
Was he at the moment?
Pardon?
Was he accompanied by U.S. Marshal at the moment?
No, he was not. He had some issues that he wanted to discuss with the councilwoman. She was nearby where he lives. He took the opportunity to go discuss some business with her.
This person of interest you now view in a different way than last night. Do you now know who he is or who he might be?
We do not. We're still actively searching, and we're reasonably certain that we're going to find out.
Sheriff, what's your sense of Mr. Lochner?
I'm not in a position to address that issue right now.
Does
Can
he
you
have
talk a
an
little bit
attorney?
about the judge and where he was in relation to all this? I mean,
He was very nearby Gabrielle.
and this guy came in between both of them or stood beside?
Well, I don't know the answer to that.
Does he
Can you
have
tell
an
us how
attorney?
many video surveillance tapes that you're in the process of reviewing?
I'm not able to discuss that at this point.
If you're a Democrat, and this is obviously more than just another case that came by your office, you know these people, several of them, for a long time. I've seen you at functions with Gabi and parties when you guys both won. Tell us a little about your personal feelings.
Well, it's very hard. I vacillate between extreme sadness and sorrow and shock and extreme anger.
Sheriff, last night you made a pretty general comment. Freedom of speech does not come without consequences. Would you care to clarify that or elaborate on it?
Could you ask the question again, please?
Last night you made a pretty general statement that freedom of speech does not come without consequences. Would you care to elaborate on that?
Well, I think that when the rhetoric about hatred, about mistrust of government, about paranoia of how government operates, and to try to inflame the public on a daily basis, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, has impact on people, especially who are unbalanced personalities to begin with.
Does he have an attorney, do you know?
I don't know.
On Lochner and his criminal past, is it something that came up in background checks when he applied for when he bought FISTA?
I do not know the answer to that question.
Sheriff, what are your observations about the state of Arizona gun laws in light of what happened?
Well, I think we're the tombstone of the United States of America.
Could you explain?
Was that a reference to the town, Sheriff, or is that metaphorical?
I have never been a proponent of letting everybody in this state carry weapons under any circumstances that they want. And that's almost where we are. The legislature at this time is proposing that students and teachers be allowed to have weapons in the schools and in college. You know, colleges ought to be run by the college presidents, not the Arizona legislature. But that's the ridiculous state to where we have become. And we have one more question.
Sheriff, the woman that was injured yesterday who grabbed the magazine, was she injured prior to grabbing it?
Yes, she was shot before grabbing the weapon.
Sheriff, talk about the gun laws, what about any change in mental health laws, the treatment of mental health for some of these people as well? Any issues involved there?
That's an everyday issue for the entire United States, for the entire world. We have very, very serious problems in this community. Back in 1960, when I was a young cop on the beat, we put mentally ill people who were threats into a system that incarcerated them. Today, they're out on the street and we're paying a price for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Would there be any